Okay. You're all fired.
Thank you.
Be.
At last.
Okay, here we go. Here we go, folks. Everybody ready? All right.
It's Jake in the morning.
You know, in the afternoon.
They don't know. They can listen whenever they want.
I'm a shock jock. I'll do it the way I like.
I'm sure we have at least one listener who's an insomniac listening at
Today
3
on
a.m.
the Jake Show, we electrify somebody's asshole. For reasons. Bzz. Oh, my asshole!
It's O'Brien, isn't it?
Probably.
Oh, man. Yeah, that is the torture. That's the torture they didn't show.
Tell us about
The asshole
O'Brien,
zap.
Jake.
All right, well, first off, let me intro the episode. How's that?
No.
All right.
I'm in.
Hello, and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jake, and today I'm joined by...
Chris?
Ames.
And Caitlin.
Welcome back, folks. This week is episode 190,
Holy!
and we'll be covering 2 episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And those episodes are, in no particular order, except for the order that we'll be talking about them and the order in which they aired, Hard Time and Shattered Mirror. Hard Time and Shattered Mirror.
Hard Mirror and
This week,
Shattered
Dr. Telnori's appointment book is filled with crippling depression, both from Miles O'Brien and from the Sisko family, having to have watched their wife/mother die all over again.
Hooray! Oh, God.
Yeah, it's a rough week for everybody. But we'll start with Hard Time.
Nog had a rough time, too.
You know, the Ferengi in the Mirror universe, they just have a bad time of it.
They do.
Well, I don't think he was depressed, at least.
No, but he definitely got killed. That definitely happened.
Yep.
Spoilers.
But anyway, we'll start with Hard Time. So we open on a weird room with a man, an old disheveled man with
A weird
long
man.
curly whirly hair, and he's drawn some picture in the sand, and then a laser beam comes and wipes it out, and he's upset. Then some people come into the room and they say, "Miles Edward O'Brien, oh, what are you doing? We're gonna let you out of jail, finally." And then we see that it is Miles, and he's
Hey.
in prison, but he's being let out. So they throw him out of the room, and then he wakes up, and he's no longer a disheveled man. He's his same old self, and he was
Still
just
a little
on like
So a disheveled man.
a little bit, but not
Less beard.
1,000-year-old looking.
And he got rid of
man.
that mullet he's had for part of this season.
Yeah, he did finally clean up the party.
But Kira's there, and he's like, "Major, why? Oh, you waited for me all this time, and you don't look a day older." And she's like, "Bitch, I've been here for like 20 minutes waiting for your sorry ass to get off this goddamn gurney. Now let's go." Turns out he's been in this prison for 20 years, but it was a prison of the mind.
Whoa.
Because
The worst
on this
kind.
particular society, instead of sending you to real prison, they just play you this high-speed simulation into your brain.
It's some Black Mirror kind of bullshit.
It's some, you know what it is?
Total Recall.
Well,
This-
it's
the inner dark is what
Yeah.
this is.
it's O'Brien's version of the town with the flute.
Yes. Only instead of a flute, he gets murder.
Dude, he said it so weird, right? He's like, I murdered him. Like,
That's how they say
you
it.
did
okay?
what?
That's how they say it in the old country. Gets back and he's got like this PTSD going on. He's acting all weird but Julian's like, "Well, you should go to therapy." And he's like, "I don't need no fucking therapy." Keiko's like, "Miles,
Perfect Keiko.
what are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh God, I'm gonna put a phaser in my mouth. Mouth."
Moose?
So anyway,
Order?
turns out that he was, putting on the tough guy act, as you do. But as it turns out, he was actually pretty upset because even despite telling people that he was alone in his mind prison, he actually had a cellmate. His best bud,
Julian.
Icheb?
Ichar.
Ichar. Icheb's a different character. Ichar. They were buds. But turns out that, in this fake prison, they don't feed you. And you still need food even in fake prison. So they, what little food they got, they'd have to kind of stash away. And At one point, HR, he's making out like he doesn't have any food, but he's secretly hiding some food. And O'Brien finds out about the secret food stash and does a mortar
Whoopsies.
on this guy.
He murders him.
Breaks his neck. And then he's haunted by this act because he knows that he's a murderer. He's being bitchy to everybody. He refuses to go to the therapist. He raises his voice to that annoying child of his.
Who wouldn't?
And then he makes his way down to the old shooting gallery and is gonna end it. Turns the phaser up all the way. And I don't know how phasers work, but there's a little dial that goes, the bottom row of lights is green and then it goes into the red. I'm assuming anything in the red row is kill.
Mm-hmm.
Red row.
And he just jacked that thing all the way to the top setting.
Well, there's different levels of kill because there's kill and then there's kill and vaporize.
Yeah, I think he was on that setting. In which case, I don't know why he put it up under his chin because he could have shot his foot.
I said the same shit. I was like, bro, you said it to super kill. You literally don't need to shoot yourself in the mouth.
He's leaving nothing to chance.
Also,
anyway,
the audience has to understand what's going on.
That too.
Yeah.
We've seen phasers.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it wouldn't be clear if it was.
Do you think
No,
in
you're
a
right.
low setting
If
you
we're
can
like,
use...
what's he gonna blow his toe off? What the fuck? What the fuck's wrong with
I
this
got
guy?
a nasty callus. I've got a corn in me toe.
He probably does
shave
have
it
a
off.
No, it's a potato.
Oh, God. Anyway, Julian, sensing trouble, barges in, talks him off the ledge, metaphorically, and then he's okay again and will never deal with this fallout ever again because he's completely healed.
Well, to be fair, O'Brien's been tortured so many different ways that they all cancel each other out.
Yeah, but this is a new kind of torture. This is 20 years of torture.
So,
Yeah.
I gotta say, I really, really hope that
Cole Meany is okay.
that Cisco firebombed the fuck out of this planet when nobody was looking. Because these people suck.
Yeah, I also don't so they say, oh, this is how justice works on our planet. Yeah, that, I don't know. I feel does everybody get a 20-year sentence, or is that, if you're caught shoplifting, do you get a
It's
couple
like Justice
hours?
Planet.
I was just gonna say, if you step on some flowers, they just fucking kill you.
They charged him with espionage for asking basic questions about public technology, it sounds like. So,
Yeah, but they're not used to people asking questions, I bet. My question is, do the other people on Argratha know that this is what their punishments are like? Would they go into the sentence knowing it's not real?
No, I think I would imagine people on the planet know what it is. And I think that's also, because that's kind of one of the things that made it so effective was that O'Brien didn't know it was a simulation.
Oh, yeah.
And it felt very real to him. And I wonder if you did know that it was a simulation, that if you wouldn't take it as seriously.
Yeah, he assumes Keiko is, in the meantime, run off with Julian, was bound to happen anyway.
Like he was planning to do.
But yeah, no, it's just because it's a simulation, there's no excuse to make it such an incredibly cruel place. And it's these people just seem like sadists, and I hope they all die.
Well, honestly, when they say this is how justice is done, how many of the people who live through this actually do kill themselves?
Oh, yeah.
The problem takes care of itself, right?
Exactly.
Right.
If Cisco doesn't do it, maybe when the Dominion War finally kicks off, maybe the fucking founders will vaporize him. And again, good.
No, the founders, I feel like the founders would be super into whatever they're selling.
Yeah,
True.
for all we
I'm
know,
just
these
saying,
people are in the Dominion.
If someone doesn't kill them soon, the Federation's going to let them join.
Oh, see, I don't want them to kill them because I recognize our Grathi mind control lady who comes in and turns O'Brien back on. Gross. Do you guys recognize her?
No.
I don't
That
even remember.
was, very, very appropriately, Aline from Inner Light, Picard's wife.
Oh my god, that's so great!
Oh, no kidding.
That's
I love
funny.
that. It
Yeah,
really
I
is
like-
inner dark.
I like
Like
that
we're-
she's in both, crazy mental living your life in your brain episodes.
Do you think when they hired her for this, they're like, listen, we're doing the opposite of the episode that you were in. Do you want to come and do it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, see, yeah,
Well,
no.
and they're both heralded as some of the greatest episodes of the series in both cases. So she gets to say, I was in definitely the top 5 episodes of TNG and DS9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like her.
I don't know if this is top 5 of DS9, but
It's
Well,
certainly
so
one
far,
of the
it's
most.
way up there for me because
It's
I
one of
think
the most-
it's great.
It's one of the most
Yeah.
famous ones, certainly.
yeah.
Oh yeah, everyone has seen the image of old, sad O'Brien getting his life drained out of him.
If I may.
But that's every episode.
Old Brian.
Yeah. Yeah, I remembered a couple things wrong about this episode because for some reason, I assumed O'Brien would tell someone about HR way earlier, and they would actually check to see if he was ever a real person or not. But that doesn't happen. So I was left wondering for a little while, like, oh wait, that never comes up, and like I'm thinking about it because I'm mistaking this, but I assume HR is just a part of the program. So maybe people don't go crazy immediately.
Yeah.
Well, it also seems like, part of the torture too, right?
Mm.
That, to have this kind of cheerful guy always there. Like, we see, even, before the murder, we see HR just getting on O'Brien's nerves because he's always like drawn in the sand and, having an upbeat attitude.
But
and
if
O'Brien's
HR
like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
But if HR hadn't been there, O'Brien would be crushed within days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell is other people.
Yeah.
Except HR. HR is nice.
I liked HR.
Yeah, but it's weird. Like, I wouldn't want to be alone, but I could see how some days you would just be like, could you just
I wish I wasn't 2
Not
feet from you all the time.
for
Yeah,
10
but
minutes?
it gives you something to think about, something to interact with, something to distract you from
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
the
yeah, no, totally.
constant thwarting.
Yeah, no, it would be better than being alone. But I'm sure there's some days where you're just like, could you just sleep the whole day? I'd really like to just not maybe jerk off in the corner and know you're not looking at me.
My God,
Oh,
that's
God.
true. Must have
I'm
felt
sure
like 20
they were
years
doing
of not
some-
jerking off.
I'm sure they didn't give a shit. There was lots of hand stuff going on. I guarantee it.
Yeah, and then that wipe came and wiped it all away.
Mm.
Yeah, I figured, because I was thinking, do they just poop on the floor? And
Yep.
the answer is
They
probably
absolutely
yes.
do.
And that's what that beam that wiped out the.
Oh, there you go.
That's why the
'cause
floor was
say
made
this-
of kitty litter.
They said, this is the decontamination beam. So I'm
Yeah,
guessing,
yeah.
that just comes in hopefully at least every day,
Hopefully.
but probably realistically, every couple of weeks.
Yeah. I did read that the footsteps of the cast and crew in the sand made for a continuity nightmare.
Mm.
Yep,
Didn't think
I
of
could
that.
imagine. I didn't
Yeah.
notice, but it's
This is
not
why-
surprising.
This is why you don't see a lot of episodes take place on a floor of sand.
Mm.
No, I really, really enjoyed this episode. It's
Yeah,
such
it's
a
good.
mind fuck, and that's really fun. And it reminds me of a whole bunch of different Black Mirror episodes, which are also super fun for me. There were literally like 2 things that got me distracted, though. And one was, so O'Brien kills HR because he thinks HR is hoarding food. And then the line is, oh, you were hoarding it for the both of us. Highty-tighty-tie. How the fuck does he know he was hoarding it for both of
I
them?
think
'Cause
because
there was double
you
of
could see that
everything.
it was portioned
Yeah.
out, kind of.
But how does he know that it's not just HR was going to eat all of it?
He
I
probably...
Yeah. I don't know. I
There's
think he
no
probably
way of knowing that.
guesses. He doesn't. I don't think he knows, but
Yeah, I would kind of
Well-
prefer to. I have a very easy fix, and that's to have it not be food and just have it be some kind of personal totem, like I don't know, like a picture of his family or.
That's what I thought it
Like
was
a
going
I
to
thought
be.
it was
he
like
really
a
liked.
stuffed rabbit or something. I was like,
Yeah.
like a stuffed animal or something in there?
Yeah,
'cause
something
see, and
that isn't food, but that now O'Brien realizes, oh, you weren't hoarding food from me, highty-tighty-tie. Oh no, I fucking killed you.
And I carried that uncomfortable piece of metal up my ass for,
Mm-hmm.
well, the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, like I remembered this episode pretty well, but I couldn't remember. I was expecting that. I had misremembered that as being just like a personal trinket or something.
Yeah, because
I
that
kinda
would have
wonder
been proof that it wasn't. He's smuggling food. And
I wonder
that
if-
your thoughts are unfounded.
I wonder if that's on purpose. Like, because they did mention at one point that he was supposed to do 15 years, but did 20 instead. Did they just release the person after they flip out and kill Ichara?
Could be.
Like, is
Yeah,
that what? Is
honestly,
they
that
just
why
leave
it's
you in there as long as it takes for you to go
snap
nuts.
and kill the guy? Because I could see that these people. I really hate these people like so much, and it just seems like something they do based on the image I have built of them, based on their justice system.
Well, listen, it's very economical. what they're doing. Much easier to
Yeah.
have somebody in a torture chair for 6 hours than feed and clothe and whatever for actually 20 years. And
Yeah,
so,
take
I
up
mean,
all that
in a
space.
way, they're stretching their tax dollars,
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
is what they're
Mhm.
doing. So, I
You're
mean, I'm
saying
not
that.
saying I like it. I'm just saying, from a practical standpoint, probably worse than anything you would have seen in, like, a real prison.
I'm just saying, I think it's completely fair to judge a society based on its justice system.
Oh, yeah. No,
And,
for sure.
These
Except
people
Justice
are
Planet.
awful.
Justice Planet's pretty bad too.
Yeah, no, they also suck.
Yeah,
Who's
I mean,
worse?
I think the
These guys, I think.
you know, because if the punishment for espionage were, 20 years in a regular, a physical prison, would that have made it any better? Like if it was the same exact situation.
Well, you'd think that in 15 years, if it were actual real life and people would actually have been there, someone would have been able to come in that time and say, "Hey, O'Brien's innocent. Could we have him back, please?"
Yeah, like, I imagine there wasn't a trial.
Yeah,
Or
it
there
might
was a
be that
trial
they're
like
just
in
like, yeah,
tribunal.
Yeah.
they might be very like cavalier because in their mind it's like, oh well, it's not, it's just going to be a few hours of, in real life. It's not like we're actually taking away 20 years of his life, so we don't have to take the punishment as seriously, or the proof, the burden of proof as seriously.
Yeah, exactly. I do wonder, though, like, in a society like this, without real prisoners, who do you enslave to put out your forest fires and then not let them be firemen afterwards?
I'm going to say the Ferengi.
There we go.
No, there was a nice moment where Bashir kind of sort of redeems himself from what he did to Kern, which was the memory wipe, which was horrifying. When he says, "Oh, no, wait, that's the wrong accent." When he says, "Oh, hidey tidy tie." No, when he refuses to do a memory wipe on O'Brien, it's saying, like, that would be worse than you living with PTSD, right? Right? I thought they should have called in Pulaski, because Pulaski's got that shit, like, mastered.
Mm.
I do like though how they they sort of explained the difference between, this isn't just like a memory implant. This isn't a total recall. This is like they played a simulation in your brain.
Yeah.
So it was real. So
Yeah.
unlike an implant, which, okay, we just find where that is in your brain and cut it out. This is like long-term memories that you've actually formed.
Your brain has Xeroxed that shit and stuck it deep in its ugly little folds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dream rules apply, it's like time moves faster in the dream than in real life.
Mm.
Oh yeah, significantly. They say like most dreams are like 15 seconds. Really?
Jesus.
I don't know if that's true. I feel like I heard that number a long time ago, and it could be total bullshit. But
Yeah, they are actually
apparently
quite
most
short.
dreams are super fast.
Well, I heard that if you go to sleep in a dream, it just compounds the amount of time.
I've done that.
And as
I've done that.
you go deeper into layers of sleep, eventually you get to a point where like you can live an entire lifetime in the blink of an eye.
That's funny.
Stole that from a Donald Duck comic.
Is that actually from a Donald Duck comic?
There is a Donald Duck comic from like the 90s that
What
has
are you doing,
lot
Jake? Don't bait Chris.
a lot of the key quote unquote science and plot points of Inception.
There's no science in Inception.
Well, yeah, but this the science they made up for it.
Neat.
Oh, I think Caitlin, you kind of talked about this. Probably the first time in history anyone has referred to Worf as a good friend.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting because he was trying. He went out of his way to play darts.
Darts.
Yeah.
Aw.
Then he's like, we could go kayaking.
Yeah,
No,
can you
Worf
imagine
would
Worf
hate that.
kayaking? Oh my god!
Oh my god, he would hate it so fucking much. He really
yeah.
would. I feel like it would end with him bat-lething the shit out of the kayak.
No, he would use a batleth instead of an oar, and just imagine that he was slaughtering the water.
Slaughter water.
I thought it was a good
New
choice.
from Monster.
I thought it was a good choice though, that like this thing has happened that is really horrible, and Julian would want to. Most people would want to talk about it.
Yeah.
He found like the one person who, first of all, it's also someone he's known longer than anyone else,
Okay.
and also the one person who's not gonna want to talk about it with him.
Hmm.
It's like it was actually, like, at first it seemed weird. It's like, they don't hang out that often. It's like, oh, wait, this makes perfect sense, though. He's been through something horrible. He's going to somebody he's known for a very long time, and he's going to someone who isn't going to want to say, give us a hug.
Well, Worf can also think about the time he spent in parallels doing all the weird jumping and shit and being like, I don't like talking about that. You don't like talking about this. Let's throw darts at a wall and not remember how the game is played.
Or
the only other person O'Brien knows who would be unable to have, like, great conversation about a traumatic event is probably Deanna Troi. She's not on this space station, so.
No, I actually really liked the scene he had with Jaco when they were just kind of going through all the different tools, and O'Brien was remembering, okay, this tool is a butt plug, and this tool is
also a butt plug.
Let me remember what it is.
A bigger
Jake.
butt plug.
No, because I think, like, how the fuck much would he remember after it's been 20 years for him? Like, I'm sure he doesn't recognize any of the people around him anymore.
It's gotta be hard. It was really cute, though.
That it was, sort of a reversal of when Jake was his mentee.
Yeah, his little intern there.
And I also just liked that Jake was, like, really supportive, and he was like, oh, you got this, Chief. You're still the Chief. Yeah.
Aw, he's such a good kid.
He is. Ever since,
Visitor?
The
Visitor?
Yeah. Yeah? Is that the one where, yes. Ever since then, I have, like, been watching him more closely. He's, like, super talented. And I don't know. Everything he's in, he's a treasure. And I'm starting to see, partly because Chris mentioned it, that, like, Cole Meany is actually also, like, just kind of one of their, like, best actors, I think.
Oh, yeah. No, he's great.
Like, he's incredible. Like, it's funny, because I'm such an asshole. I call him Blunt Tool O'Brien, and, like, I give him all the shit, but, like, the scene with him and Julian when he finally tells him about Ishar.
Yeah.
And, like, he actually had tears, like actual tears. And I guess we didn't see him work them up because he was in flashback land. But I believe that he formed those tears. He was so broken up, so upset, and just, I don't know. It was just so beautifully delivered. I gain new respect for him all the time.
No, I think I go back to this again and again that the acting on this show overall is considerably better than we've seen in Trek.
Yeah, and the characters are also written amazingly. I have a great quote here. I think it's by Ira Stephen Bear. I'm going to read it to you out of my big book of books. Every year, we like to drive O'Brien totally mad, laughs Bear. We did it with Whispers, we did it with Tribunal and Visionary, omitting this line because it's a spoiler. We just like to hammer him because he's such a great character, and he's so accessible. You feel his pain, and even though it's a TV show and you figure he's going to come out all right at the end, you're still compelled to root him on.
Yeah. He's like the everyman,
Yeah.
Like, he didn't go to fancy space university. He's not the second greatest doctor to graduate that year.
He's no child genius or empath who can feel things, or he doesn't have a superpower.
Just like Troy wasn't.
And I know how we kind of give him shit for being a little bit racist sometimes, but like that's part of his charm in a way.
But that's also part of his accessibility in the 90s. You know what I mean?
It's because everyone has a friend that's like now. A good person otherwise, but says the horrible thing, and you're like, oh, you. But we cannot see that from any other Starfleet officer.
Unless it's about the Ferengi, when it was really
everyone can be racist about the Ferengi.
Especially
that's
the first
established.
Yeah, the first 2 seasons of TNG especially.
Bad.
It is bad super okay to be racist about the Ferengi.
But
Well, and Worf still is, right?
Yeah, but he's a Klingon though. That we expect that from him.
Do we?
Yeah.
I don't know. Where's the honor in demeaning your foe with cheap words?
Fair point, but I think we because he's a Klingon, we give him leeway we wouldn't give other members of Starfleet to be sort of more flawed.
But I do think that O'Brien is the most relatable Starfleet character. We'll say human Starfleet character to discount Worf, but like in terms of, I could imagine knowing people like O'Brien.
Yeah.
I don't know paragons of anything like, Cisco or Captain Picard or Riker.
Yeah.
But I know O'Brien's.
Oh, sure.
I went to a school. Actually, I once punched a kid named O'Brien.
Because he had unionized and wanted better access to the cafeteria.
So, like, this kid, Patrick O'Brien, and I feel like I can say his name because that has to be the most common name in Ireland, probably.
Well, certainly in the greater Boston area.
Sure. But yeah, so this kid, Patrick O'Brien, he was kind of like the shrimpy kid, but he was like, had a fucking tood, man. Like he would just get under your skin. And I was on some little league team with him, and he was goading me and being a little turd. And like, this was like little league. We're like 7 years old.
He's up there like swing, bada.
It's just like being
a dickhead.
Being a tit. All the parents are there, and just in the middle of the field, I just had enough, and I just gave it to him. And
did you really?
I did.
In the middle of a game?
In the middle of a game.
Oh my god,
My
Jake.
hero.
He was decked.
Seriously?
He was on the deck. And
you got decked.
He got decked. So Patty O'Brien, I don't know what happened to him.
Patty.
You killed him.
I just, again, this is
He
extra
never-
funny for me because, as I have said before, whenever you talk about child you, I picture a child with your head. So I just picture a child
Oh my God.
having you run up to him with like this little body, like that's way too small for your adult head with the beard and everything.
But does he have kid-sized fists
Kid-sized
or
fists.
Jake-sized fists?
Kid-sized everything except the outsized adult head with the beard and
DK
hair.
mode.
Amazing. Speaking of children, I want to bring it back to Star Trek and talk about the
Yes.
scene in which O'Brien almost punches Molly out.
Jesus Christ.
Because like that scene, it gets me distracted because there's a child in the scene. So the whole time I'm thinking to myself,
Man,
how
I'd
did
love
they
to punch
shoot
that
this?
child.
Well, there's that because she was terrible. I'm thinking like, how did they shoot this scene? Because there's no way you just have Miles, having Cole Meany screaming at a child. So I'm thinking they probably did a lot of like interesting cuts where they did a couple close-ups on her face, in which I'm sure Miles wasn't actually yelling at her because that would scar this kid who was only 7 years old at the time.
Can confirm. It fucked me up. So, yeah.
Or, I mean, they may have just had a big long sit down. He talked to her ahead of time, being like, just none of it's real and this and that.
Yeah, I mean, that
They may have
actress
done that.
had been... I mean, that's the same actress that's been Molly the whole time.
Yeah.
So she must feel pretty comfortable with Cole Meany and what's-her-face? Rosalind Chow. So, I don't know, she probably... Actually, that must be really fucking confusing for a kid to, like, grow up with TV parents.
Yeah. I was just thinking that.
But, so she must have to feel pretty comfortable with them to be
Still,
able
though.
to...
It's certainly probably a little less weird for her because she's only like an occasional character
Yeah.
versus someone who's like
Wesley?
not even that. I'm thinking like just a normal sitcom where you're in every episode.
Oh, yeah. You
And
think
you
about, like,
probably-
Michelle from Full House.
You probably spend more time with your fake parents than your real ones. I never thought
Probably.
about that. That must be a mind screw.
And your real parents are probably fucking thrilled because not only are you making money, they don't have to fucking deal with you. You're like, this is perfect. Let's pump out a couple more Hollywood children.
Like I feel like
yeah.
in
the
this,
parents have to
And
be
especially on,
the
like,
set,
Full
right?
House, where, like, every week is a life lesson. They don't even have
Yeah.
to do that.
I don't know, to be honest.
Oh, Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen learned the dangers of underage drinking at the age of 9. Perfect. We're wrapped.
But yeah, I imagine for Molly, I don't know her real name. Yeah, it's probably sees them enough that they're it's like her aunt and uncle or something.
But yeah, I mean, you could be right. Like, I'm sure.
Probably a mix of it,
Yeah, like they probably did their best to limit how much
actual,
screaming
yeah.
there was at her, but also probably had to be like, listen,
There's gonna be a
make
little
believe. We're not really mad at you.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is look terrified. And granted, there were many scenes where, like, when Keiko grabs her and you only see her from the back,
Yeah.
it's like, I wonder if she's doing any acting right now. Don't know,
Probably
because
not.
I don't know if a child actor is really capable of doing what this scene needs. Which took me a little bit out of the scene, just because I think about these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Poor little
I thought
Molly.
that the daddy look at this picture thing.
Bad acting.
Well, I don't know. I
But
wish.
that's what kids do because they suck. So
Yes. I was hoping it was like going to be like, she spilled some food or on his work or something. Like he had some pads and she doodled on them. I don't know. Something that would actually be worthy of screaming at.
Oh, this is just how broken O'Brien is right now.
Yeah, he just can't deal with the existence of a kid, which, if you have a kid, is a problem.
Yeah, he beat the fuck out of Quark for no goddamn reason.
Oh my god. My favorite, though, was at the end of the scene when Odo is, like, clearly taking the report from Quark, and he's just like, never thought I'd see the day. Like, I just feel like he'd be bullshit. Like, O'Brien, why did you...
Quark?
Yeah, really. Quark! Yeah, I feel like, as much as Quark was having a bad day, Odo's like, what the fuck? I have to take your report? Quark wants to press charges against O'Brien? I don't know. Just feel like it would be bad news for Odo.
Yeah, it's bad news for Cisco, too, because now Cisco realizes, fuck, I gotta put O'Brien in the corner for a couple of days while he figures this out.
And no one else can hold this place together.
Yeah. That's true. I felt bad for O'Brien in that one scene where he, like, I don't know, super glued that plastic back together, and whomever was like, I don't even know, interim chief, was like, haha, you'll be running the place again soon. I just feel like O'Brien must have wanted to punch him. Maybe that's why he went after Quark instead. He was just like, you smug motherfucker. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. I don't know. Or O'Brien.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
put him through the ringer.
Really cool episode, really cool idea. I was reading up on the origins of this idea, because it was kicking around since season 1 when it was first pitched.
Oh, wow.
But
I'm glad they waited to do it. 'Cause Jesus.
Fair, yeah, because I feel like they really let the characters kind of stew for a while. But yeah, the Michael Piller didn't care for it, so he just kept saying, no, I don't like it. But Michael Piller has meanwhile moved off to wherever the fuck Michael Piller went. And
bye, buddy.
Ira Stephen Bear was like, yeah, I like this one. Let's do this one finally. It didn't originally have HR in it. And Bear and Robert Hewitt Wolf each had a different idea for how to incorporate the character. One wanted him only in flashbacks. One wanted him only in hallucinations. And they decided to do both, which I think was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because then you recognize who the fuck he is.
I think, too, like, I'm glad they did it the way they did, where I think it would have been a very boring and cheap episode if we spent the whole time in prison, and then at the end it's like, gotcha!
Yeah, here's the big reveal.
Like, have it being the fallout of the big reveal, which happens right away, is why it was compelling.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't have been compelling the other way around, because first of all, you would have realized partway through, okay, something's up, this isn't real. Because they're not going to have a main character who just spent 20 years in prison.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and the other way around, too, it's just a fucking M. Night Shyamalan episode. But the way they did it, it's like...
Yeah, so to have, like...
It's part M. Night Shyamalan, part episode of Columbo.
Yeah. Having the reveal, but then still saving some stuff, like finding out that, no, he wasn't alone. And then building up to, like, well, wait, why was he alone when we saw him then?
Why is he lying about having been alone?
Yeah, and he yells at his hallucination of HR, like, you're dead!
Yeah.
At one point, and that's like the first time we're like, oh, okay, so the reason why that guy wasn't there at the beginning is because he's dead, but we don't find out about the murder until basically, the last scene pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good structure to it. I like that structure.
Yeah, it was very good.
I also like that, we didn't get, and we didn't need any sort of intro to that society. We didn't see, there wasn't, half the episode spent on, like, if this was a TNG episode, I feel like the first 2 acts would have been them on the planet, him asking too many questions, getting arrested, and then we'd get into the episode, and by then we'd be
shitting on the flowers.
Yeah,
exactly. So I like that we just sort of dropped in.
Yeah, it's like what happened in Tribunal. Tribunal did the same thing, and it's such a good way to watch an episode, is to understand over time rather than being force-fed it through a fucking spoon.
Yeah. Although Tribunal at least did have the advantage of being a society we already knew at least some things
That's
about
true. That's true.
from previous exposure. That we have a slight bead on the Cardis.
Mm.
Although this was them writing large that earlier line that Garrick had said about knowing the outcome of trials.
They did have to gut a different episode because they were kicking around an idea that I think I mentioned this ages ago, that Cedo Jaxa was still alive, and that it would have been like her having murdered someone in whatever prison she was stuck in for all this time and living with the PTSD.
Right. You did talk about that once.
Yeah, but they couldn't find a way for it to work, so they just said, let's use that idea for this O'Brien thing we're working on, because that's going to be even more fun.
Yeah.
Also, we really don't need... I wouldn't want Cedo Jaxa to still be alive.
Who was that again?
She was the in Lower Deck, she was the
Bajoran girl?
The Bajoran girl that went on that secret mission and got blowed up.
She had previously been part of Nova Squadron.
Nova Squad.
But yeah, so I mean, it was like her death meant something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Picard was super bummed.
Picard was bummed, her friends were bummed. So I feel like having her be alive would kind of diminish that. So I'm glad that episode got cannibalized.
Kind of like if you killed off a major character in, like, I don't know, the second film in a series.
I was just thinking that.
Brought him back right away.
Yep, right away. The next movie.
Wow. That I can't imagine who would do that. Definitely not the Star Trek franchise.
No,
That would be very out of character.
They got too much integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have fun.
We do. Yeah, the only thing, because I do love this episode up and down, and I think they did a fantastic job putting it together, is I didn't like when Ichar fades out. I thought that was too on the nose. When he, at the very, very end, when O'Brien says, I can finally get past this.
Yeah.
And he says, be well, and walks away, and then does a fade effect, which I didn't think was necessary, and I thought looked really fucking campy.
I'm not going to lie, I somehow missed the fade effect.
Oh God.
No, he should have just gone around a corner.
Yeah, either go around a corner, or we look at Miles, or he say his be well to Miles, make a heart with his hands or something.
Yeah.
And then Miles looks down at his hands like, I can make a heart with my hands, and then he looks up and he's gone.
Or that, yeah. Like, I somehow missed that. Had I noticed it, no, that's dumb.
Yeah, I don't know.
I will say
that's a bit on the nose.
The fade out effect was actually pretty well done, technically, I thought, because it was a panning shot, and he faded out really. I don't know. I thought the fade out looked really good.
Sure.
I'm sure it did, but the fact that it was there, I was like, why is this here? Fuck this.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed that. I must have glanced away or something.
And it also because it's implied at the end of the episode that he's still got a road to recovery.
Oh yeah.
So having him disappear, Ichar disappear, kind of like short circuited that a little bit. And then also the fact that
admitting you need help is the first step.
Yeah.
Oh no, sure, absolutely. But I feel like we didn't like the image, and maybe this is what Ames was already trying to say too, is that like the image of Ichar vanishing implies that it's all over now and he's better.
Yeah. You're healed.
And it is not that simple.
No.
The one thing that bugged me, and it doesn't have to do with this particular episode because I feel like we've seen it before, but I really wish the phaser lockers weren't so obviously just changing tables.
Stations, yeah.
Nice.
Like, I feel like it's not the first time we've seen them, but it's the first time in a while, and I was like, oh, they really haven't come up with a better design. Like, you clearly...
There is no better design. This is the 24th century. It must be the best.
Clearly bought a changing table and turned it into a phaser rack. Like, come on, guys.
I mean, they buy their own models and make them into actual...
Yeah, but at least they look like a bird of prey and not a changing table.
I know. The only thing that I thought was interesting, not the only thing. A thing I thought was interesting that I forgot to mention earlier was, did you guys notice that when Miles gets back on the ship and he's walking with Julian, there's a light effect that's coming from up above that makes O'Brien look like he's got vertical bars across him.
Oh, that's nice.
And I don't know if it was on purpose, and I don't...
I'm sure it is.
I was going to say, I'm sure it's on purpose. I don't know if it's actually new or I just never noticed. But there's several seconds of them coming down the corridor where he's just got these shadow bars across him, which I thought was... And I'm not usually one to pick up on that shit, so it must not have been very subtle.
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh yeah, that's a cool, because he's still like imprisoned in his mind and shit, and deep metaphorical thoughts like I have.
Knowing lighting designers, it's intentional.
If anybody that worked on the show is listening to this podcast, you just made their year. Like, there was some, fucking grip that was like, yeah, I'm gonna put fucking bars down here. It's gonna shine right on them.
I thought it looked really cool. And I noticed it, and it looked like it wasn't actually, it was just on him, not on Bashir at all, too. There was a part, like, near where it ended that a little bit got on Bashir, but for the most part, it was just on O'Brien, and I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that was intentional and well done.
Well, I liked it, so good for them.
Yeah, very, very minor detail I really liked was that Ichar's natural, just kind of casual stance was just kind of popping a squat. Which is a stance that, most, like, Westerners, like, O'Brien or Americans or folk aren't comfortable sitting, like, crouching like that. Normally it's you sit on your knees or you sit on your butt on the floor or something. And I just like that he just so naturally, like, his character is the kind of guy that just kind of, like, perches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing.
Yeah, that is a hard position to hold, like...
Because we're all fat.
Well, not even that, like, I just, like, even if you're thin, it's just such an unnatural stance if it's not something you train yourself up to. I don't know how catchers do it.
I don't think it is, because that lowers your center of gravity. Theoretically, it's easier than...
I just think of the strain on the knee.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe ancient Terrans didn't live long enough to have lots of knee problems. Mostly because they were always squatting around, and you know how, like, when you squat, you have to get back up again. It kind of takes a second sometimes. And by then, the predators got you. It's over.
Supposedly, if the squatty potty ads are to be believed, that is a better position to evacuate.
It is.
It straightens out your colon or whatever.
I once resorted to it when I was having trouble, and it
worked.
Really helped.
Interesting.
Conversely, you can lean forward, which will give you kind of the same effect, or you can just lift your knees on your own.
I just drink fiber every day.
You do, yeah.
And I never have a problem. Unless I skip a day, in which case it's horrible.
But imagine if it was even easier.
That's true.
Whoop!
Anyway, this has been Bowel Movement Corner.
I'm glad.
That corner was hidden by the fourth wall in this episode.
That's true.
Yes,
There's a pile on the
time.
other side of the camera. Good thing Cole Meany isn't method.
I did notice they did age both of them. But, like, not only did Ichara's hair get a bit longer, but by the end, his skin was weirdly mottled.
Nice.
Like, I like that they didn't do it just like, oh yeah, his hair's longer and grayer. It's like, no, this is what happens when his species gets old. Their whole sort of pattern changes.
Well, it happens to ours too, sort of.
But it's nice to see them actually put the effort in.
I agree.
Like, they could have totally been lazy and just kept him the same shade of green, but they did have him, like, age all over. Which, again, just it's that extra little effort that makes something even better.
Yeah. Aces all around.
Yeah.
I'll even give Molly, like, a B. Molly can get a B this episode.
Good for her.
So bad. B for the beating she almost got from her dad. Jesus.
Oh, God, you wanted me to... So when he's having the big fight with Ichara, he flings the dirt, sand in his eyes. We call that Dublin rules, motherfucker.
I laughed my ass off. And the thing that Chris asked me to remember to say was that after O'Brien has his big blow up at Bashir, I quipped, "Oh dear, the chief has a bit of a bee in his bonnet." Which felt very Bashirian, so there you have it. And I just thought that the I'm going to definitely kill myself scene was really hard, and I think I definitely shed a little bit of a tear, because I don't know, man, not to be on a soapbox or whatever, but this is like the reality for lots of people who are veterans, who are taken prisoner, who have seen some shit. A friend of mine online recently, we were talking, and he was in the military. And I don't know if he saw some shit, but he did develop arthritis while he was in service. And it's been impossible for him to get the proper care that he needs. Because now he's got other problems with, like, joint pain and nerve pain and shit, and they, like, won't get him an MRI, and he's like, it's gonna be a big struggle to get this shit, and I'm just like, dude, take care of people that come back with these problems. Absolutely. I'm not at all trying to be political, I just think...
Don't worry, I already was, so...
No, I mean, I know, but I just, I think we have a responsibility to take care of people, and, like, Starfleet, for their part, was doing their best they could for O'Brien. He was just being all Irish about it, and being like, I don't have feelings, I don't need to talk about it.
And plus, I mean, here's the thing. We've only seen one Starfleet counselor up to this point. We don't know what does Patel Telnori, Telnani,
Nori.
Telnori. We don't know. He might suck too.
I think Telnori's like, when it's all right now, just tell Nori what happened.
Oh no!
I'm gonna sit down and tell Nori all about it.
Well done. Well done.
Oh,
All right, so that was Hard Time, which I think we all agree was tops.
Pops.
Super good.
Tops.
Aces.
Well, now we get into Shattered Mirror. I don't know why I said it like that. Maybe
It
it's
does.
like
It feels like a soap opera.
like a Halloween episode. I was thinking more like,
Oh, like woo.
well, I mean, everyone is in silly costumes.
do you think if they had Halloween on Bajor, there'd be like sexy Vedic costumes at Spirit?
Yes.
and
Yes.
sexy Kai.
Se-
Oh no, sexy pregnant Kai.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I'm wrong.
The guys could have like sexy emissary. It's just a Cisco uniform.
Jennifer looked damn good this episode. Tell us about it, Jake.
Yeah. So we're hanging out on DS9. Jake's getting hanging out at his old hanging spot, and Odo comes over and is like, "How's it going, Jake?"
Every time it's great.
And Jake's like, "All right, Odo, I'll move along." And he's like, "You don't have to move along. I was only chasing off Nog because he's a piece of shit, and you're all right." And so anyway, Jake heads home. He's feeling sorry because his friend's not there anymore. Nog, he's off at Starfleet. So he goes and he heads home and he opens the door and who's there but his father and
Shocking.
his mother.
What?
Dun dun. So come to find out that Jennifer Sisko mirror Jennifer Sisko, who we met in the most recent Mirror Universe episode.
Professor Sisko.
Yes.
Professor Jennifer Sisko is there, and she's there claiming to just dropping by for a visit.
Like you do from the Mirror Universe.
Yeah, and of course, Jake is, the fact that Sisko, whatever, Jake is immediately smitten. Like, he's immediately like, Mom? And, he pretends like he knows the difference, but
No,
it doesn't look like he knows
absolutely
the difference.
No.
So it's a little weird, a little creepy. And then, Sisko is like, all right, well, I got to go to work, so you two hang out. And when
Bad idea.
When Sisko gets back from work, they're gone. And they left behind one of the little doohickeys to make the transporter go to the Mirror Universe. So Sisko is like, well, I guess I got to go after them. He beams over to the Mirror Universe, and there's old Smiley, who strangely has had a better life than Miles O'Brien in our universe.
Yeah, which is weird.
But anyway, he's there, and he's like, oh, well, we were expecting you, and yeah, we have your son. He's safe. He's hanging out with his fake mom, and we need you to help us build the Defiant. Because
Sisko knows exactly
he
how to build
does.
the
He does.
Defiant.
I mean, of all the people, he was involved in the design of the Defiant, so he does kind of know his shit about it.
We'll get to this.
Yes, listen, he built a light ship and also a clock.
He's a fucking accomplished
big deal.
shipbuilder. Why are we
We'll get
discounting
to
his
this.
shipbuilding capabilities? Anyway, they've mostly already built it from plans that Smiley stole. They just need, Sisko's help to do the final tune-up. Before, as we find out, the Terrans have had a change of fortune. They've taken over Terok Nor, and, they have Intendant Kira as a prisoner now, and it's all well and good.
Who is
but-
really fucking horny for being in prison.
She's always horny.
Always.
No, but I mean-
Mirror Kira. But she uses it like, she's the Black Widow type. She'll lure you in and then she'll cut off everything. So anyway, turns out that the new head of the Alliance is on his way to fuck you up, to fuck them all up, and that of course is
Nog.
what was the
Regent.
Regent Worf.
Ooh.
Because Michael Dorn's in the show now.
Yay.
So we have Regent Worf. He's heading to give a beating to the Terrans, but if they get the Defiant ready in time, well, they'll be able to maybe defend themselves. So they're like, listen, Sisko, you help us fix our Defiant. We'll let you and Jake go. And in the meantime, Jake can hang out with his fake mom and have, scarring mental experiences.
You can make her chicken.
Awful.
But things aren't going so well because, like Jake sees Mirror Nog, who's now running the bar because, of course, Quark and Rom have both been killed in this universe. But Nog's kind of a shithead, doesn't want to be friends with Jake.
Doesn't trust tall men. Only tall women.
Yeah, there are some tall women. Less underboob in this universe.
Well, that's because he can make it just to where their boobs are, so the underboob's not necessary. Just bury his little nose right in there.
Dax confronts Cisco about the sort of rape thing that happened.
Nice of them to acknowledge it.
Kira also, less confrontational, but it's like, oh, you tricked me into sex.
And then Bashir is like, you tricked me into punchings.
Yeah. So everyone's mad that Cisco is actually from this, from the other universe and not their Cisco. Anyway, this is going on long. They fix up the ship. Kira manages to escape from prison. During her escape, she kills both Nog.
Whoops.
Sorry, Ferengis. She kills both Nog and Jennifer Cisco.
Whoops.
In front of Jake.
Right in front of Jake. Oh
so he has to watch his mom die again. But they do manage to defend the place from Worf.
Worf and his chained up Garrick.
Yeah. Worf and his sub.
No. Garrick is not his type.
That's true. Well, that's what he says. That's what he says, but he's still got him on the chain.
Here's the thing. I actually really appreciated that scene, because Garrick was like, I used to, wink, wink, nudge, nudge for Intendant Kira. Maybe I could, And Worf, I'm sure he had at least a halfie.
Probably.
One of the two.
Yeah, just one of them.
I liked Garrick's his jailer that was leading him around and who was clearly a dumbass.
Yeah, he was.
I lost he stole the key from me. Oh, it was in my boot.
Idiot.
I still think Garrick put it there.
Maybe.
For playing the long game, making this guy look like a bigger idiot than he is.
That sounds like Garrick.
It does.
I mean, it did get him
He got
stabbed.
stabbed in the fucking gut.
Yeah,
I was saying, okay, he's on board a ship full of Klingons. They probably don't even have a fucking med bay. You don't save somebody if you're a Klingon, right? I mean...
Worf did. Worf said, if he dies, you die. So...
Surely a dishonorable death.
Garrick, we may have said this last Mirror episode, but I think Garrick must be the most neutral person in the universe, because the Mirror universe version of him is identical. So
he's just a singularity.
Yeah, he's actually some sort of point around which it all revolves.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that Nog was very much early seasons Nog.
Yeah.
Just kind of combative and not into being friends and...
from Mirror, the original Mirror universe, the implication was that the Mirror universe was just filled with evil versions of people from the regular universe. But I think now it's just, no, these are just people who've lived harder lives than the people in the regular universe. These Smiley isn't any more evil than Miles. I mean, he certainly hasn't murdered as many people as Miles. Nobody in this, on the Starfleet side anyway, seems any more evil in the Mirror universe. They just seem like people that have been, repressed.
In this version of Bashir smokes 3 packs a day.
Yes. I mean, there was that one scene where he was using the agonizer on Kira for a bit. But then again, she had it coming, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think
it sounded like she was coming. You're talking about.
When you look at Mirror, I think really what it was is that the rest of the universe was normal, but Earth was evil. And now because Earth kind of got its comeuppance, you've got what you said, Jake, where it's just the same people, but they've lived a harder life. Because when you look at that one, the whole thing was both Kirks were trying to get some sort of resource from this pacifist planet. And the planet was the same in both cases, but it was the fact that regular Kirk was going to be, they were we don't want to give you stuff because we're pacifists and stuff. And he was like, it's a bummer, but okay. Whereas evil Kirk was going to
take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're definitely, currently, all of us living in the mirror universe.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Clearly.
Okay.
But I don't know. As I say this, I think every Mirror Universe episode, and I've said this before, since Mirror Mirror, is just fanfic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and like this is no different. This, I mean, if anything, it's just every episode gets a little further into the realm of fanfic, especially, you know, now that, oh, well, this is the first Mirror episode since Michael Dorn joined the cast.
Yeah, to be
So
fair,
we're going to have Worf.
Worf was originally going to be in crossover, but it conflicted with some TNG filming. And they gave, and I think I remember they gave those lines to like Garrick and folks. But yeah, it's very fanficky. It's very weird. Like I know the writers say like we're gonna try not to lay it on too thick by just doing Mirror Universe episodes for the hell of it. We're gonna try to do them for a reason, and the reason this episode was we wanted to explore what it would be like for Jake to have his quote unquote mom back.
Traumatizing.
Yeah, which is interesting. I just didn't like any of that idea.
I mean, I didn't mind the idea. I didn't like that it was that they didn't address that this is actually probably very harmful.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. Especially to follow an episode about PTSD with this.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. You know what I
it's
really
just sort of
didn't like?
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just saying, you know, it's just it's portrayed as like, oh, well, isn't this a nice thing? And it's like, yeah, but don't you think this is gonna fuck him up?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And like the part that I really didn't like, and I don't know if it was the acting or the writing or what it was
all the weird touching. No,
which weird touching is this?
No, go on. We'll talk about it next. I thought for sure that was what you were gonna say.
No, everyone was weirdly touching, but no, like the scene between Intendant Kira and Professor Sisko in which she gets shot. It just felt so contrived. It felt so much like, okay, we need this scene to happen so that we can get to the end, so that we can kill Jennifer off. So the whole point of it is, you know, Kira finds Jennifer and Sisko running away and says, oh, why is this boy so important to you? Oh, well, he's just a boy. He shouldn't be involved. Let him go. This seems interesting. I'm gonna sexy about it. And then the death is just, I don't know. It felt like a bad scene. It felt really like they were just trying to get to the ending with that scene, and it was dumb.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that like, so I you know, I don't know if when they cast this woman to be Jennifer Sisko in Emissary, if they had imagined that they were going to be bringing her back to do actual acting.
It's a good question.
You know, because, you know, she's a very, very pretty lady.
Look great in those dresses.
But in, you know, Emissary, she just had to be basically a dead body.
She was in the flashbacks.
Yeah, but she didn't have to do much.
Or in the wormhole things.
Yeah, where she was an
alien.
An alien and didn't have to really like emote. But now, you know, they've made her a character in the Mirror Universe, so that actress has had to do probably more than she was cast for initially.
Maybe.
And I wonder if, because I found some of her performances, you know, some of her deliveries to be a little on the wooden side.
Yeah, especially when you look at all the other actors who are just having the times of their lives, being big crazy characters, you know, punching out Sisko and flirting with everyone. Talking about both Garrick and Kira and Nog and every fucking buddy. Yeah, that she was just very plain. Even Sisko this episode was kind of plain, and it was like, I don't like this one.
Tilly said, fuck it, I am going to get directly involved in a giant space battle in a different universe, because I want to.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't
Prime
trust
Directive
O'Brien.
doesn't apply.
He doesn't trust Smiley to pilot the ship.
I did like, though, that, you know, obviously, because he wouldn't, you know, Smiley didn't know what the fuck attack pattern Delta was.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah,
He had to
I like
be
attack pattern suicide.
Yeah, that was good. I also adored fucking just Kira in the prison, where she's hitting on that guy, and he's like, you condemned my wife and son to death. Oh, I was hoping you weren't married.
That was
like,
cute.
wow, that is
loved
cold
that.
and
Yeah.
amazing.
The non-visitor's Intendant Kira is a thing of beauty.
Oh yeah, just absolutely fantastic.
And we're not just talking about her butt.
Oh my god, she does have a great ass though, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had-
Superintendent Kira is when I realized how hot Kira was. I was like,
Nice.
Super
Superintendent
Nintendo
Intendant.
Super Nintendo Kira.
I didn't say Super Nintendo. I said
No, I know.
Superintendent.
That's a
I know.
Simpsons
But
thing.
Super Nintendo is better. So
Nice,
Super
nice.
Nintendo. Oh, yes, I've heard that.
It's a
Yeah, no,
Simpsons
just
joke.
Intendant. Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're actually gonna
I
start
like
watching
Superintendent. I wish that was what Worf's character was.
Superintendent Worf.
So, Super Nintendo War.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me.
Yeah. We had Jadzia back with her awesome haircut.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
Bashir
God.
back
Damn
with
good.
his. I commented that I dislike Bashir's haircut as much as I like Dax's haircut.
It's the same haircut.
I mean, I think also though, but Bashir's
Just
very
about.
Dirty.
clearly not a great wig on him.
Yeah.
I thought.
Aw.
Yeah. it's a
I
bad
did
wig.
read that Siddig grew the beard for this episode
Oh.
so that his character had some scruff going on. But then, because they also had to do reshoots for a different episode, he had to shave it in the middle of filming for this one.
Oh no!
So there's a scene where they painted it on.
Oh, no.
I didn't
I
see
said-
what scene it was, so
Mm.
good enough.
Yeah.
I said that the one thing about Mirror Bashir is that he kind of portrays the character of first season Bashir, by which I mean he looks like the kind of guy that hangs outside of like an adult toy store, like stroking his dick while people walk in, you know? Like,
What?
I don't
I don't know what this is.
I'm just saying, like,
An
he looks
adult
like,
toy store stroking
Well,
his dick.
I-
Like you mean like
like-
a sex shop?
yeah, sex shop.
And he's masturbating?
Not like in this. No, I just mean like what I mean is he looks like a fucking creep who like touches himself in public while looking
okay,
at women.
I see. Okay, yeah.
And that's
okay.
kind of how his first season persona was ish.
I do hate that apparently Mirror Bashir has gotten with Mirror Dax. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want any version of
Don't like
Bashir
it.
to get with any version of Dax. Also, I think, Caitlin, you put it best. It kind of felt like that what Alexander Siddig took for his inspiration was, I'm a pirate.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, I like it.
yeah. It felt like there were lots of yars, sort of.
No,
No
she
Tasha
changed-
yars though.
Damn it.
Eh.
Yeah, there was a moment where he had this weird ass accent going on that sounded like Jake trying to do a Scotty accent.
Mm.
Wait, what? What did he think he was doing?
Hey.
Getting harder and harder to work it in, but we try.
It'll always come back to Scott.
Absolutely. It
Good
will.
old Scott. No, I was
Scott could
so-
have fixed up that motherfucking Defiant.
Yeah, so we're
Sorry.
talking about the motherfucking Defiant and why the fuck to bring Cisco back to help build the thing. And here's my question. They rig up the transporter mabob to bring Cisco back, and only Cisco.
Only Cisco.
So when, normal space O'Brien and normal space, I think Dax was gonna go. No, Kira. Kira was gonna
yeah.
go so she could fuck herself, obviously. They're not invited, so they don't get beamed over. And I'm thinking, like, sounds like you assholes need all the help you can get.
Especially the
actual
guy
fuck?
that actually fixed the ship.
Which
Well-
guy? O'Brien?
O'Brien.
Hello, Brian.
Like,
Smiley?
Cisco designed it, but O'Brien's the one that got it to work.
Yeah.
But I also think that maybe the idea is that they have leverage on Cisco
True.
by virtue of having Jake there,
Jaco?
essentially a prisoner. So they can make they figure, well, Cisco will work for us. He's not going to try any funny business because if he does, we're going to kill his kid. Whereas they don't have any leverage on the other two.
How much
So if
does
they-
Smiley know about Cisco? Because it seems to be everything.
Yeah. Yeah, they did
I
their
mean-
research.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely do. I mean, apparently they can go to the Prime universe whenever they want.
Yeah.
They should just
now.
come and steal weapons all
Yeah,
the time.
steal weapons.
They should
I mean,
steal
they-
the actual
They
Defiant.
apparently went back and got the plans for the Defiant, and not just very detailed
Yeah.
plans. Like they made a carbon copy.
Well, because
So-
you figure if they have any biometric security, Smiley can
Yeah.
get through it.
Yeah. So
It's
here's
like
my
with
question.
Rikers.
Here's my question. So we're already assuming everyone around us is founders. Can we now also assume that everyone around us is Mirror Universe folk?
Possibly.
How many of the times have we seen O'Brien in the background? Has it been Smiley?
Hmm.
Ooh.
Almost
Every
all
time.
of them. All of them, especially when he's also in the foreground. If both of those are true, one of them's definitely Mirror O'Brien.
I really
That's what
wish.
happened in Visionary.
I really wish they'd done that at some point. Like just a really subtle thing where you could see two O'Briens.
Well, I mean, I always like I say, I'm never a huge fan of these mirror episodes just because, like, yeah, they're fun, I guess, but
Listen,
they're also-
if we wanted fanfic, we'd write it ourselves.
we'd write
We
it
do,
ourselves.
and ours are better.
But, like, if we were going to if we have to have mirror universe episodes, I'd like to flip it around at least once where where the Prime universe needs help from the mirror counterparts, or like they have to like, our Cisco is going over there to be like, hey, Smiley, I really need 2 O'Briens for a project or something. I don't know.
We've almost never seen the mirror folk in this universe doing things, because in Mirror Mirror, they were locked up in an instant.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see them interacting at all.
No.
We've seen Jennifer here briefly, but didn't get to see her really do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I would like to see, maybe not Jennifer Cisco because that's, not a character that we know very
Garrick.
well. But,
Mirror
well, no, I
Garrick.
was thinking like somebody who
Always.
was like Mirror Opaka or somebody. Like,
Oh, yeah.
something
She's
like
probably
that.
still alive.
I feel like that would be a Captain Killy situation where, like, suddenly she's not this peaceful Kai Opaka. She's
I like it. And she's sexy, too.
Or like in the one with the
and horny probably a lot.
the one with that terrible poet, the caste system guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that guy turned out to be the mirror version of himself.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
his name? Errol Flynn or something?
Yeah, it works.
Akaram?
Yeah, that's it.
Sure.
Something
That's,
like
what I,
that.
that's what I said.
Piece of shito.
So his Dejara was shit mines. Wow.
Yeah, he was the shit miner.
I feel like if any mirror universe, character could slip into the main universe and no one would realize it, it would definitely be Garrick.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause
Oh,
he's
yeah.
the same
Yeah, I was gonna say
person.
he's the same character,
And he was
Um,
switched at birth with his mirror universe counterpart somehow.
but
Yeah,
nobody
we don't
can
know
tell
how.
the difference.
I do want to see the 2 O'Briens interact, just because it would be interesting.
Yeah, because we're also killing off most of the pairings at this point.
Mm.
There are fewer people to see interact with themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we
Excuse me.
exploded Odo
Yeah.
and killed
Explodo.
Quark.
Quark in their
Yeah.
first outing.
Well, I also
Quark.
I kind of like I mean, it's got to be considered a running gag at this point.
Yeah.
That the Ferengi just get killed every like
Yeah.
they're gonna
It's
have
like-
to introduce like Brunt is gonna have to get killed
Yeah.
next time.
It's like
Zach.
that Treehouse of Horror where Willie dies in every short.
What is
Right.
Zek like in the mirror universe?
Which one's Zek again?
The Grand
Wallace
Negus.
Shawn.
Oh.
Inconceivable!
Well, we've already seen him. He's all like, "Give my money away."
The new rules of acquisition.
Anything else?
How did you like the space battle?
Oh, it was amazing.
It was
Must have
fun.
cost a
I
fortune.
Partway through, I was like, Jesus, they spent a lot of money on this episode.
They did. In fact, this was 5 times the regular effects budget to do
Damn.
those fucking ships.
Yeah,
They
this-
realized, so they wanted it to be a really big Klingon ship, like bigger than normal Klingon ships, because it's the mirror universe, and why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Idiots. But the only model they had of a Klingon ship for the Negvar that they used in All Good Things and in Way of the Warrior, I think, was the same size as the model they have of the Defiant,
Whoops.
but it's supposed to be 25 times bigger.
Right.
And there was no good way to film that, so they did a lot of rewriting so that they would only have to build a new underside of the Klingon ship
There you
that
go.
was roughly to scale with their model Defiant and have that do its little thing and zip around. But yeah, it sounds like it was chaos trying to deal with these models.
It really did show off the maneuver. I mean, they've showed it off before, but the way it was like fucking threading the needle of the station several times, like
Yeah.
There are a
No,
couple
it
good
was
space
cool
battles
stuff.
in the Orville that are like that.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, the Orville and like the thing that makes this, I think, even more impressive is that, as you mentioned, these are all done with models,
yeah,
which yeah, for a big budget movie like Star Wars is like okay, yeah, but to do it on a TV show, just some random middle of the season episode of a syndicated TV show is like holy shit. Whereas like Orville and things today are all CG, which
Yeah,
not
that's true.
not easy to do, and not anyone can do it in terms of like cost is maybe I'm making a huge assumption, and maybe it's actually more money to do CG. I don't know.
I would guess so, but I would also guess you'd be able to use the same models over and over again. So like,
Well, I
it would
also think
make
that
up
like
for it.
well, like for like if once you have the model of the ship, you can scale it up. in
Yeah.
CG, right? You don't
Yeah,
have to
that's true.
build a larger copy of it.
Of course,
From scratch.
there's the non-money cost, though, which is that it will inevitably age poorly. Like, until we get to the point where shit is so real that you just can't tell anymore, it will affect it. Like, there's a reason why Jurassic Park used, CG really well and sparingly, and it still looks fucking great. And then you see any other fucking movie with CG since then, and you're just like, oh,
But
Jesus.
I think you mean Jurassic Quark, Caitlin.
Dude,
See.
I loved that title so much. I don't know if I actually told you
Oh,
when
thank
we
you.
did it, but I was like, this is fucking great.
It was really good.
Everything about it. I loved all your fan fictions. I didn't tell you guys enough. I loved them.
Aw, we love you.
You did a
too,
very good
Caitlin.
job too, Caitlin.
But yeah,
Oh,
I
thanks.
think we are at a point though where even TV CG, especially when it's like a completely CG field, like a space battle would be, where there's nothing real next to it to compare it to, we're at the point where it's gonna age well enough.
Did you say the point
Yeah.
of no return?
No.
Okay, great.
We're still at a point where when you have a CG thing in a real space with real people, especially at the TV budget level, it's still kind of shonky. But I think you can get away with an all CG thing on TV now, and you'll go like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's probably true.
True enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
We say this now, and in 25 years, we're going to say, "Oh no, look how bad everything
Yeah,
was."
I mean, because I'm thinking back to like, I've basically been playing through all of the Zelda games
You
in the
have.
last few weeks.
Nice.
Sand seals
and-
forever.
Yeah, I finally got through
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, mostly. I mean, I got to the end, but like I probably only have like 70% of the extra shit, if that.
I'm
yeah.
sure less.
But anyway, I remember as a kid playing Nintendo 64 games, like Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64 and, Shadows of the Empire, and just being like, holy shit, these are fucking amazing. It's like real life. And like playing those games now, I'm just like, holy God.
I always draw that comparison with like Final Fantasy VII, how it was like at the time, even though it was just a blocky piece of shit, it was so amazing that we were all like, holy fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the
And
way
you
I
look
put
back
it,
now and you're like, ugh.
when I played the Ocarina of Time remake on the 3DS, I was like, this is what I remember the game looking like.
Oh, did they like do a graphical remaster for that?
They just, I think they actually rebuilt a lot of the assets straight up.
Oh, wow.
So so like Link's nose is round and not a weird sort
A
of
dagger.
polygon thing.
Or like the boobs on the
Oh
Great
God,
Fairies.
that fairy! I hate her so much.
God,
She's so horrifying.
that game to this day has the most upsetting version of the Great Fairies.
Yeah.
I think Wind Waker has the best, the weird little like multi-armed child thing.
Neat.
I like the ones from Breath of the Wild.
The
When you level them.
giant women.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Death by
Oh,
Shnu
yeah.
Shnu, baby.
You and Dr. Psycho.
Yeah, I
Don't
mean,
know
and it's
what she
oddly
does with
sexual
Link.
too.
Oh.
I mean, I
When
guess
she pulls him into the water, yeah, you do. Right up there.
I guess
His
all
whole
of the
body.
Great Fairies are kind of weirdly sexual.
They're like
even
they're
the
intended
Ocarina
Kira.
ones are like spreading out for you.
Yeah, no, they're
all
awful.
the fairies come from the mirror universe, so it's fitting.
There
Yeah.
we go.
They do reflect in their little pools.
Mm.
Kind of mirror-esque.
Anyway,
Anyway,
yeah. So, Mirror Universe. That's what this episode was.
Yep.
It was.
Ames, I
It's a
actually
good
kind of...
thing. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Ames, that I kind of wondered if you might have kind of liked this one. I remember thinking, of all the Mirror Universe episodes we've seen so far, this one feels like the one Ames is the most likely to be okay with. And I think it was mostly because of Garrick, but...
Garrick was good in it, but I think overall this is the one I like the least, just
Fuck.
because it's, I don't know, it feels like the most contrived one.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like the other ones, okay, yeah, I get it. You wanna have intended Kira sex your way around, do the thing. I'm for that.
I also want
And-
that, yeah.
I forgot what the other ones even were. Oh, the other one was Mirror Cisco had died. Yeah, that one's actually kind of interesting because it's like, oh, Cisco has to pretend to be somebody else. That's fun. This one was just, let's do mirror shenanigans, but everyone is them now.
Yeah.
Mm. Although I do think, like, I wonder if people, because I wonder if people were upset or kind of skeeved out about the last episode with all of the questionable sexual escapades of Cisco.
Definitely skeeved us out, I remember.
And I wonder if that's like why they specifically called it out. They had Mirror Dax confront him about it. They had Kira allude to it. I wonder if,
well, I mean, considering that this is also the season where, the new showrunners were like, let's fix Bashir. Like, I feel like it must have been very conscious.
But let's let Bashir still be a bad guy in the mirror universe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing that I'm...
okay.
Yeah, the thing that I'm, like, so mad on this episode is I just don't care about Professor Cisco's plot. I don't care about the whole, maybe she can be our real mom. Jake's trying to hook up his dad with Jennifer Cisco, even though he's got Cassidy Yates back home. What the hell is wrong with you?
All I could think of was, like, that meme where it's like, I forget what the exact format is, but all I could picture was, like, friendship with Cassidy Yates ended. New friendship with Mirror Mom started. He was like, God damn, he was ready to drop Cassidy Yates like a bad habit. Like, God damn it, Jake. All that effort you went through, and now you're just like, fake mom! And I get it. It's your mom, kind of, but not really.
Your hands feel just like her hands.
Yeah, that's the shit I didn't like. I was like, you're saying a lot of weird shit. It was like a weirdly incestuous Little Red Riding Hood, what big titties you have, just like I remember. I mean, I know that's not exactly what happened, but there was a lot
Chris
of, like...
is making, oh, no.
I like it. No, but he was like, I never thought I'd hold these hands again. Oh, you smile just like her. I mean, I know, but it was just...
You smell just like her.
There was just like, it was just, there was something weird about it. Maybe it was just the acting. Maybe I just think Jake is a perv.
Well,
I think you're projecting a bit much on this one here.
It definitely feels like...
I mean, I definitely thought she had great tits, but she doesn't look anything like my mom.
Like, it does feel like those lines feel strange coming out of, like, an 18-year-old versus a 9-year-old, say.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, but I think that, the thing is, the last time Jake saw her...
He was 9.
He kind of regresses a bit, I think.
Yes, yeah. And I get it. I mean, who the hell... It's such a bizarre situation that can't happen in real life.
We start off this episode with Jake feeling lonely because Nog is gone.
Yeah.
And then Quark and Odo come over and they're like, yup, this is why we don't have friends. Even though the two of them are such great friends.
Oh, yeah.
The best of friends.
I did like that because the two of them were talking about how they don't have friends when they have each other.
I wonder if that scene was only in the show just so that those two could be in the episode.
Fulfilling the writer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just because, they're obviously not able to be in any of the mirror scenes.
Well, and we didn't see, in the last episode, we only saw Odo for like half a second taking Quark's report, I assume. Like, we never even hear him speak in that episode, so.
In the last episode, we only saw Jadzia when she was like, oh, Miles! And he's like, no, get out of here. She's like, okay. And that's it.
Yeah, but I didn't miss her. I missed Odo. Oh, that's not fair. Poor Dax. She is doing better.
She is. She's stepping up.
But I still feel like in a cast of really compelling characters, she's, to me, kind of one of the least compelling.
Well, because she's got a lot of catch-up to play after being misused for 3 years.
That's true. I mean, and that'll change. I mean, again, I loved her in Rejoined, so...
Yeah.
I thought you were saying she's like Miss USA, but she's misused.
I do feel like this is actually, I feel like, kind of the first time in a while we've had Jake around these past 2 weeks.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like
was he in any of our fic? None of us used Jake in our fic.
No, we didn't.
Oh, you did. You had.
Oh, right. He wrote a story.
He wasn't there, but
he was mentioned.
His presence
yes,
was.
That's
right.
True. Okay, good. I actually completely forgot that I had done that.
None of us used Worf either.
Oh, poor Worf.
Yeah, well, my story took place.
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess technically my story probably took place after.
I don't really know when mine did.
And now there's no more Gowron.
Yes.
So good. I loved it.
Now everyone knows how long ago we did that episode.
Yes.
Do we have anything else to say?
I don't.
No, that was mirror episode, fanfic episode. That's what it is.
Because I'm a sucker for these, so I had fun with it, but I remember going into this thinking, it was fun, but I got nothing to say. It was just kind of an action story.
I was just really super Oop, go ahead, Ames.
That they tried to make into a Jake, this is his mom's story, but it didn't work.
There's a little I mean, they didn't focus on it enough, I think, was the problem. They focused more on the adventure.
Yeah. I don't even know about that. I feel like it was not well realized, this whole script.
No, I agree. And I think you actually hit on something, and I think it also points to the problem I was having with all the weird shit between Jake and Mom, is I think the writing isn't good. I think, like, whoever actually wrote the words coming out of their mouth boxes were not great.
Yeah.
Very, like, ham-handed. And also, like, I mean, I'm sure maybe they were making it a little bit, I don't know. I felt as soon as Cisco left the room, I was like, oh, she's gonna fucking kidnap the shit out of that kid. I don't know why, but she's doing it. I don't know. Just felt very, whatever, obvious.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the fact that Jake seems so trusting of everything that's going on when it's so clear that he's being manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and then he didn't care. That line where she's like, and he couldn't even be mad at me. No one's ever loved me like that. And it's just like, get out.
He doesn't
Piece
love
of
you.
shit.
He loves someone who looks like you.
But also, you're a piece of shit for doing this to a kid. I mean,
Absolutely.
We don't like kids, but we don't wish weird manipulation tactics, especially not on our beautiful Jake Sisko.
Well, and that's the thing, and they didn't get into it a lot, but I think she did kind of like end up, because again, she's from the mirror universe. You know, the ends seem to always justify the means to these folks.
Yeah, originally she was on the other side. She was helping the KCA, and Cisco helped her flip.
Yeah, so I think, like, she's probably for the first time ever kind of dealing with feeling bad about something she's done.
I don't think she ever feels bad about anything.
I think a little, maybe. Again, they could have focused on it more. It would have been better. I still had fun with it, but again, it was definitely like a fluff episode for me. Good space battle.
Good space battle.
Nice
and again,
house.
Cisco taking command of the other Defiant just because he wanted to, basically. He's like, fuck it.
Well, because like you said, he kind of belongs in the mirror universe.
In some ways, he feels just so natural there.
And I bet he just, like, relished the idea of getting to blow some shit up. He's like, oh, on my side of the world, I can't do this shit. My side of the mirror.
All right, take us back to the side of the mirror, Caitlin.
All right. This has been A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast, episode 190. We will be back next week. 2 more DS9 episodes, specifically The Muse and For the Cause.
The Cause!
Sounds like it's definitely some Bajoran shit. And I hope The Muse is about Kira doing some more pottery or whatever. Fuck, ceramics. Or she does.
Wish.
Oh, it's a good one, huh? Cool. Ames is gonna be happy next week. And I'll be introing, so you can expect lots of this fucking thing happen. So look forward to that. What I'm saying is maybe skip episode 191.
No, don't do that.
Aww.
If it's a bad episode, we'll just shit on it, and we'll be hysterical.
we're
No, I
best-
meant mostly
we're
for not
best
having
when
to
they're
hear
bad.
me go through the... Yes, that's true.
I probably should have told you this before you started this, Caitlin, but we're on Spotify now.
We are?
Yeah.
Oh,
When did
shit.
that happen?
I found that there was a page to submit podcasts, so I submitted ours.
Nice.
Why
Wow.
Oh, I was like, why are you telling me? Because I said fuck? I was really confused. I was like, does Spotify
No,
care?
because
I listen to Wet Ass Pussy
because
on
when you're
Spotify.
saying where to
I gotta add it.
listen to us, you can
Wow,
say
we're
Spotify.
fucking big time now.
Yeah, no,
If you
it's
like
big-
wet ass
big-
pussy, you'll
You
like
c-
us.
You can... Now we gotta rewrite it for Star Trek.
I'm sure tons of people
Ben
already
Shapiro
have.
probably did.
Then again-
you know me.
Then again, there was no Our Man Bashir theme that I could find anywhere, so...
Amen, Bashir. Fuck, I had to write that. You didn't remind me, and I forgot all fucking about it. Can
Sorry.
I still write it? Is it too late?
No, go for it.
All right, I might do
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. I gotta pee. Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So if you like what you heard and you're looking forward to hearing about the Muse and For the Cause, you can find us online where all fine podcasts are sold. We are on SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. Wow, adding that one in really fucked me up. You can find us on Facebook by searching for A Star to Steer Her By. You can find us on Twitter and Tumblr at SSHB Podcast. And you can visit sshbpodcast.com, which is just a quicker way to find us on Tumblr, really, but maybe someday.
Read the
but-
fanfics. They're great.
Yeah, you can check out the fanfics. You can stage your own readings. Send us recordings of that if you want to be featured on our page. So tens of people might see it.
Someone make Siddig do them.
Dude, I was thinking that would be amazing if we could do that.
That'd be real cute.
But they'd actually need you, Jake, because poor Renee.
Yeah.
But just to take us back a little and end on sort of a serious note for once, obviously there's a lot of death and grief and obviously a almost suicide in this episode. From the National Institute of Mental Health, suicide is a major public health concern. More than 48,000 people die by suicide each year, just in the United States. It is the 10th leading cause of death overall. Suicide is complicated and tragic, but it is often preventable. If you or someone you know and love is having a hard time, you need someone to talk to, highly recommend the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, toll-free number 800-273-8255, which is 800-273-TALK.
Oh.
Yeah, so, mental health is super important, and, if you're thinking about anything drastic, especially in, obviously, the terrible times, the mirror universe we all feel like we're living in. Bad joke, I'm sorry. I'm ashamed. Anyway, if you need to talk to somebody, you should do that, and, we love you. Thank you for listening, and take care of yourselves.
Thank you, Caitlin. Better than talking to Counselor Troy.
Much.
So thank you for joining us. Well, hopefully we'll see you next week. I have been Caitlin, and joining me have been...
Jake?
Chris?
And always Ames.
That was so weird. That was the way you did that was very different.
Who, me?
Yeah.
It's because I fucked up. So I fucked up the order, and there's no way to get back to it.
Yeah,
it is a script. That's why, when I threw Spotify in, I couldn't remember anything else. I was like, fuck, what else is there?
Believe you me, I know how tough doing that outro is.
Jake will take us off of Spotify just to make it better.
Yes.
No, leave it.
Mirror Rule of Acquisition 115, don't trust tall men.
Fair.
Mm.
What
tall
Rule
women?
116, trust tall women.
Oh,
Yeah, there
Sorry,
it is.
Ames, I didn't mean to...
No,
over
it's
you.
perfect. You got it just right.